Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Heroes Biographies. Today, we will be getting to know someone incredibly special, the greatest hero of all time. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. So let's jump right into our Heroes to Hero Biography. Joining me today for our conversation about Jesus Christ, the greatest hero of all time, I have Pastor Andrés Peralta. Hello, Pastor Peralta. How are you today?
Hello, Kenny. I'm so glad to be with you at this moment, and I'm so excited because this character of Jesus is the best of the best.
Definitely. We're excited to have you here. Love the energy. As always, Peralta bringing 1,000 of the energy. So that's going to be great for the conversation that we have today. And like you mentioned, the greatest person of all time, Jesus Christ, the greatest hero. I mean, when we think biblical heroes, when we think heroes in general, when we just think of the word hero, Jesus comes to mind, right? As believers, we know that he is the ultimate hero. And so usually I give all these facts about the different people in the Bible, the different Bible heroes. But if we start talking about all of the facts about Jesus Christ, we would be here all day, right?
Yeah,
There's so many things we could talk about, right?
we will be here for the eternity, okay?
Just talking and talking about Jesus. So we do know who he is. We know what he came to do. We know why he came. We know the ultimate sacrifice that he made for each and every one of us. And what we do know is that we're waiting for him to come back and pick up all his children, right? And take us to be with him for an eternity. But we do have some questions because although we do know Jesus, it's always so interesting to hear insight from someone else who knows a little bit more about all our Bible heroes stories. So today I have a few questions for you, Pastor Peralta. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Yes.
All right, let's go. So our first question is, why do we like Jesus' story so much? Why do we get so excited? Why are we as excited as you are right now about Jesus?
You know why I like his story? Because he's a vivid example of a vertical and horizontal relationship. He had a close relationship with God, and at the same time, he had a wonderful relationship with humanity. So that's why I like his character so much, and as a hero, right? As a hero, he had that connection with the Father and connection with humanity, and not only that, also I think he's the best. I don't know if you can say that reference that we can think of how we should live a life. How we should be alive and how to love God wholeheartedly. So I really love that story because of his life. He was an example. He loved God. He loved humanity. He helped the people. His words were always kind, and he was full of compassion. And he acted what he talked. He doesn't only talk, but he walked the talk. Let me say it this way.
He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk, right? I think you're spot on. I think that one of the reasons that we can come back to the Gospels and continue reading them, and I mean, we have like 4 Gospels just specifically talking about his life and what he did here on earth. And we read all of them and we enjoy them and we go back to them. And during the year, we always go back to different points in the story of Jesus's life, right? And we read all of these different books that point back to his story, that go deeper into his story. There are documentaries and movies that try to just get us to understand the story and try to explain it in different formats. And I just think it's exactly what you said. It's so fascinating for us to have this, like you said, vertical and horizontal relationship, that straight connection with the Father, but also that deep connection and compassion for humanity. Now, my second question, I feel like I really want to see what you're going to say here. I want to know if we're going to be here just hearing you preach, because this next question, I feel like we can get a whole sermon.
Ay, ay,
Um,
ay.
so I don't know.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I don't know if we're ready. But the second question is, why do we consider Jesus Christ a hero?
That is a very unique and a very tough question on Kenya, you know? I always say this. Listen to this. This might sound crazy. Please forgive me, those of you that are watching in different venues, social media, YouTube, Facebook, and all these. But let me tell you something. Look, I always say this. It is easier to be a martyr than a hero. Let me say it like that. Let me say it again. It is easier to die for a cause than to live a righteous life. So I believe that he is a hero because he lived a righteous life. That's number one. Number two, most superheroes have caused problems at one point, you know, due to a careless maybe mistake. However, Jesus has never made a mistake. That's why I consider him a superhero. Number three, almost all villains in superhero movies have some type of anger issues, you know, and sometimes superheroes, they have their own issues in their life. However, Jesus never displayed anger in a negative way. Though he displayed, let me say like that, righteous anger for the misuse of God's house in John 2:17. He possessed a selfish fleshly anger. He didn't. He was selfless. So I believe that he also was a superhero because he inspired people that were connected with him, was inspired. And I believe he was a superhero because heroes, sometimes they save the good people, but Jesus was beyond. He saved all humanity, bad people and good people. And also, I believe he was a superhero, and beyond that, he never wear a mask. You know, a superhero tends to have double identity, but he only had one. He was the Son of God, but he was my superhero. And let me see, I mean, we can say more things, but I know you want to say something. Say, Peralta, let me say something, please.
No, I definitely knew that once we got into the topic of why Jesus is a superhero, we could go on forever. There's so many levels to that. There's so many things that we could point to as to why he's a hero. And I really, really enjoyed that last one that you said, you know. Heroes that we know, they have these double identities, right? We know about all the heroes that we know in the movies, in Marvel and DC Comics and all of these different places. There are these superheroes with two identities, right? They have their normal life, and then they have their superhero life, and nobody knows them.
It's like Superman. No, Superman, right? He is Clark in the morning and Superman in the evening, right?
Exactly. And nobody, you know, there are people who don't know, they can't tell who he is. But the beautiful thing is that we get to know Jesus. We know his true identity, and he reveals himself to us. And we don't have to wonder I wonder who that hero is. We know exactly who he is. Yeah. And that is the beautiful thing that we can achieve, a real relationship with a hero who is real and who is sincere and who is earnest and who is perfect in every way.
And Kenya, I'm sorry to interrupt. One thing that really impressed me is that no human or superhero has been able to live a life without sin. Yet, Jesus was able to live a sinless life that was in accordance with the word of God. So that really impressed me.
Yeah, definitely. Now, talking about that, I mean, I feel like the next question, in all the Bible heroes that we've discussed up until this point, Even those who we find to be perfect and blameless, we've been able to discuss the topic of their struggles, right? What has Daniel struggled with? What did Samson struggle with? What did Esther struggle with? But in this case, I'm really scratching my head because I really don't think there is an answer to this. The question of what did Jesus struggle with, if anything at all? I don't think he did.
Well, Jesus was 100% human and 100% divine. And I'm going to say that this is the let me start in another way. I'm going to give you the simple answer, and then I'm going to give you the what I consider the most profound answer to this question. Let me start like a little child, okay? Number one, he struggled with rejection. People rejected him. His own people rejected him. His own family didn't believe in him. He also struggled with poverty, and identity. People would say, "Oh, is there something good that can come out from Nazareth?" Because Nazareth was a small village. Nazareth was very poor, so he struggled with that. He also struggled with people trying to trick him or judge him. So he had many struggles. But you know what is the greatest struggle that he had that I consider at this moment? Is that he was 100% human and 100% divine. And he never used his divinity to supply his own needs or to help himself. For example, if I'm a fighter and I'm tempted to fight because I know how to fight, it will be so easy for me to show that I can fight.
Yeah.
Because I have the capacity, I have the talent, I have the energy and the muscles and the strength and the speed. So Jesus had the power to do many things with his power to fulfill his need. Nevertheless, whatever power he used it because it was God's power. He prayed first and God gave him the power, but he never used his divinity to defend himself. And he could have done that, and he didn't do it. So I think that was a struggle. And another and final struggle that I could say is that he struggled in Gashmanim. In Hebrew is Gashmanim, Gethsemane. He struggled there. He struggled. He said, God, I don't want to drink this cup. And sometime in our life, we don't want to drink the cup. But he said, not my will, but yours. And he took the cup of the curse of sin of the whole world. He drank it so he can save us. So he struggled there. And on the cross, he struggled. He was tempted to come down and defend himself. And he said, I could. And he even told Peter when he was in Gethsemane, I could have requested millions of angels to come and defend me, but I didn't do it. So he had his struggle. But as a hero, he knew how to manage struggles in his life.
Yes, definitely. I think, you know what? You're absolutely right. I feel like I came in thinking about the struggles and the stories that we've been talking about, and thinking about how struggles are equivalent to someone, falling, someone messing up. But then there are those struggles that we do have to encounter in our lives. And the beautiful thing is that you just mentioned so many struggles that us, right, as regular human beings, we also encounter. So Jesus gives us the hope to know that yes, you will encounter struggles. There will be difficult moments in your life, but that doesn't mean you can't obtain the victory through God.
Amen.
So that gives us so much hope, and I feel like that's what a hero does. A hero gives us hope,
Mhm.
right, for a better tomorrow, a better future. And the fact that we have that hope in Jesus Christ, and like you mentioned, like the restraint that
Mhm.
was needed to be able to succeed in every one of his temptations, in every one of his struggles, and every one of his difficulties, it came straight from the Father, the strength of the
Amen.
Father in him. So thank you for giving us that insight, that maybe we were looking at it as what was something he failed at, but no, it was his struggles and he was victorious. And that gives us the victory. So
And
you know,
Kenya,
yeah,
I'm sorry to add this.
go for it.
When he was tempted,
Yeah,
he struggled straight with the devil.
yeah,
And when he was sleeping, the devil rise a storm to sink him and the disciples' faith. But he
mm-hmm.
stood up and he struggled, and God gave him the victory. In Revelation, you find him struggling with the enemy, and
Yeah,
in the cross, he crushed death. He crushed the enemy. So
yeah,
Jesus has been struggling since he was born. When he was born, they trying to kill him. He
yeah,
had to run to Egypt. So his beginning, and the best thing, and this is something that the young people at this moment, and children and adults, they need to remember. Jesus had the victory in the devil's neighborhood. He
mm,
he 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 got victory in his weakness. 6,000 years of sin. So he didn't win the victory because he was God.
mm,
He won the victory in his weakness, being human. But
mm-hmm.
but he was connected with the Father, and you
Yeah,
and I can do the same thing. As this, we want to call ourselves heroes. Yes, we are,
yeah,
but we don't have to have superpower. We can be weak. We can have doubts. We can struggle with things. As long we stay connected with the Father, we can have victory. Because if we win
mm,
a battle because we are greater and bigger, is that real a
mm,
victory? It's like this little boy who was shouting, I won the fight. And then an old man came. Why do you win the fight? Because he said, because I'm bigger, I'm older, and I'm stronger. And the old man told the little kid, I aren't you ashamed to fight with someone who is younger and is smaller
mm,
than you?
mm-hmm.
So this is why Jesus didn't have the victory over Satan as God, but as a human being.
Mm.
So we can have victory too. We are heroes. Sorry, Kenya. I had to say it, okay? I had to say it.
No, it's perfectly fine. That's why you're here. You're here for us to be able to get a deeper insight, a deeper understanding. And I think that you're giving us just that. So don't worry about it. This is all for you to talk to us. So we're learning. And you just mentioned the connection with the Father. And that's my next question.
Okay.
What was the relationship that Jesus had with God? What was that like?
Well, the other one I spent a lot of time, so this one I'm gonna be very short. I'm gonna
Okay.
say it this way: his relationship with God was continuous,
Yeah.
deep,
Mm.
and consistent. So he had a lifestyle. His connection with God was not like praying 3 times a day as we thought, or Daniel prayed 3 times a day, or so and so prayed 3 times a day. No, no, no. His connection with God was 24/7. His mind was connected with him. And you find him, in Mark, in the gospel, how he was early in the morning connected with God. You see him praying when he was doing activity. People saw him praying. He prayed with the multitude. He prayed by himself. He prayed with his friends. So he was in constant prayer. So I
Mm.
think that really is a teaching for us. He
Yeah.
was a continuous prayer, deep, continuous, and consistent.
Definitely. And you just kind of made the segue. I didn't even have to do it. You know what? You could interview yourself, Peralta. I feel like you could do that.
No, 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 no.
Because you just went right into our last question, which I can't believe it's already over. It went by really quickly. We got so much information. We got to see things from a different perspective, a deeper understanding. And you just gave us, you said it was consistent, it was constant. And what was the third one?
I don't even remember. Continue. Deep, deep, deep. I
Thank
think I
you.
said deep.
It was deep
Profound,
continuing.
profound.
Yes, you used a lot of adjectives, but there's so much that we obviously can learn from Jesus's life, right? There's so much that we can take from his story here on earth. But I would like to ask for you to just give us one thing that you think that, as young people, old people, everyone, adults, everyone who's watching, our viewers, can take away that we can apply from Jesus's life. What can we apply directly from his life to ours?
Wow. I believe that we can apply two things. Number one, the love for God and the love for our neighbors. So that's he summarized the 10 commandments in some way or the other in those two, loving God and loving others. So that's the way I think we should apply his principle, his life, and bring it to our life. Let's love God vertical,
Mm-hmm.
and let's love others horizontal. That that's my answer.
Beautiful answer. I think you perfectly encapsulated Jesus's life here on earth, how it was directly connected to the Father, but it was also deeply connected to every single
Right
person
here,
that he
right here, right
encountered.
here, right here.
The
Yes.
cross. Definitely. Thank you so much for giving us something also practical as we go out and have a direct connection with the Father, love the Father, and we go forward and love other people. Peralta, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for all of the insight. Thank you for bringing us a word, for preaching to us without even realizing it. Thank you for helping us understand just on a deeper level how much Jesus was truly a hero, is a hero, and how he inspires us to be heroes in our daily lives. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kenya.
It was so great. Well, to everyone else, we have been learning so much about all of our Bible heroes. And this, I think, has been such a monumental conversation about the greatest hero of all time. And how great will it be to actually choose Jesus as your hero in the Heroes 2 game? So stay tuned to the next episode of Heroes 2 Hero Biographies. Bye-bye.